Hey guys, this is a new poem called A Heart That You Didn't Break. I wrote it, well actually I finished it yesterday. My wonderful partner in crime, Kyle. I hope you guys take a minute to listen and to give me your feedback. A Heart That You Didn't Break. I was 5 years old the first time my heart broke. I met a little girl who said that her daddy was my daddy. And through a tear-stained face sitting at the dinner table, my mother said it was true. But this was decades before you. When I learned that even people outside my house knew a lipstick stain from a dollar hole on a collar that was earlier ironed and starched by a loving wife was enough to be the beginning of the end of a happy life. It broke a little more from shame. When I grew up and said I will to someone I'm glad I wouldn't, and I told my mother about the naked photos of an underage and underdeveloped mid-pubescent girl in my home, she told me about my grandfather, of whom all she needed to mention was a Korean saying roughly translating to, men like him would fuck a garbage can if it wore a dress. No matter if they married the best, it had no reference in essence to their hunger. And I never saw safety in broad shoulders and beards, as that was what requested I drop my pants. When I was a preschooler, requesting if perchance to prance on the playground, you see, these are the scenes that precede you, in the molding of the image of men in my mind's eye. And I deeply apologize, but I have a hard time with trust. You see, it wasn't enough that you went to hell and back to show me the sincerity behind every word. To me it was simply absurd that one could be so. And here, I lack a term for you. I beg your pardon, but I've scoured jargons, and it seems none can serve you any justice. It's just us. The concept of perfect imperfection was so hard to grasp. And all you asked was I let my guard down, to sleep knowing I'm safe and sound with a man who'd bend over backwards to keep me safe. But this was the last place I expected to be. When I sat on my ass praying a prince would come for me, I looked only for charm. And so I was disarmed by your decorum, so chock full of chivalry it shivered me. The way you didn't skip a beat when my sister needed your help. You could have looked out for self and focused on the copious amounts of pleasure I was to give you. But you didn't. You came to her rescue. Or the way you revere your mother like the queen she is, and still acknowledge that the time you give to her is but a pebble to the rock she's been for you. The way you won't accept mediocrity in your work, so you stay up all night just to make things right, and not for the money, but for the respect, which I've noticed you impart to those who don't even give it in return. You see, I've had to relearn the definition of a man just standing here watching your day by day. And it ain't the money you make. Your socioeconomic status won't have us determining your worth, which is such that I'll immortalize you if I can. And if I could give birth to a prince, I'd pray he'd be like my king, baby. The thing is, I came to you in pieces, shattered and broken and torn. And without warning again or request, you have begun to mend a heart that you didn't break. Thank you.